I kit bash another Warpsmith today, but with a twist. The emphasis will lay more on the warp part of that name other than the smith part. I already built a Terminator that seems to be infested by the Obliterator virus, so I thought I could build a Warpsmith going into the arcane and primordial soup stuff as well. And since my homebrew warband of the Pale Jackets will get some self-built demon engines this year anyway, I thought it's only fitting starting with this guy. I used the Exalted 8-bounce kit for that, specifically the one on the left, but enough talk, let's butcher some minis. After assembling most of the miniature's frame, I cut away his way too bullish neck and gave him his chest and backplate. And once that was done, I started with one of his most important parts, the backpack. As I just said, I wanted him to lean more towards the warp side, but a huge backpack is a must for these guys. So I cut apart one of the original kit's backpack and used the Black Marines one for the new base. And on the latter one I just removed the ventilations or whatever these are in a very brutish way and sanded everything flat. I do this to reduce every ever so small outstanding part. I like to use these small sanding sponges for that because they have multiple grain size, which is perfect for small things like miniatures, and they have a very good workflow in my opinion. And after that was done, I used a little bit of green stuff to smash these parts together, creating a humongous back module that can hold a lot of things. Let's not spoil it here. While that one dries, I go back to the main frame of the miniature. I only had one good shin guard left in my bits box, so I had to get creative with the other leg, and since a pirate wooden leg was out of question, at least for this warband, I had to get creative here and thought I'd destroy his leg even more. The idea was to have it look like a ceramide armor has been gone because of whatever reason, maybe decay, maybe warp, and maybe just something that makes boom. And while I was removing material, I also removed the corn symbol on his belt buckle, brushing off the removed bits and going on with a little bit of a mishap. I hadn't pressed recording for this part, but nothing too fancy happened here. He just got a shin guard from a Terminator and a cable-like looking part out of green stuff. After that I used an Orc Killer Khan's flamethrower barrel and some various bits like some plastic rods and wire to create his mechanical leg that shall be another focus point. I fastened the patient on my helping hands here and placed some wires, some plastic tubes and the flamethrower bit here. And while you see me doing this, I would love to thank my amazing patrons and channel members for their continued support. Thank you all very much and know that this actually makes a difference. And while on that topic, hello, Sam Edmondson. I have to say I'm very happy that the people who watch me doing painting tutorials still watch me kit bashing these dudes here. But now, back to the show. When all the various tubes and things were in place, I also placed some cables there. Maybe I can give these some funny colors later. And while all that dries, I thought I'd go on with his hammer. A smith needs a hammer, and this one comes from the hammer boy himself, Bastian Cathalos. So let's butcher Uskawara and cut off the hand and use a Terminator's arm since they are more bulky and replace that arm. After I also cut away the hand there, which I figured works the best using a clipper. At least for me. And after cleaning it with my knife, I once again used a small blob of green stuff to secure the hand to the arm and the arm to the torso. The towering backpack was dry by now and it was time placing it onto the back after removing the little knob here which was in the way. And once that was in place, I increased the number of arms by 1 and removed the pistons and a little bit of that shoulder mass so I could place an 8-bounce pauldron onto it. I just had to cut away an ever so tiny amount of the inside and one of that chaos trim so it actually fits between his arm and the backpack. But now let's go into the warp part of the Smith and give him some tentacles instead of these mechanical arms. The first one was eyeballed to a length that could actually fit onto that hanging tube from his backpack, but then a thought hit me. I figured it's better to have the normal parts of him fully built, so I sculpted the inside of his neck part again, or at least covering the holes I created there. For his left shoulder I went on with a blank Terminator's one and just glued the Chaos Star from a Demon Prince onto it. After that I added 2 more details on his belt. A container from a ash-raised nomad, and I guess these are Emperor's Children grenades. Now that the armor is fully built, I thought adding more tentacles is the way to go. So I cut apart another one and gave it a flat end to have something attached to it. Like this teleport beacon. I thought I'd push my luck here and just broke the lamp out of there with my clippers, which worked better than expected. And when the lamp was gone, it was time to clean it and replace it with a melter. And once that's done, I placed the contraption to the flat end of the tentacle and searched for a good place to, well, place it. I figured having this one coming out somewhere between the bag and the backpack, facing in the same direction as the bolt weapon, is a good thing. After all, matching and copying the flow of movement is a very important thing in my opinion. I added these orc teeth to his bolter-wielding arm and finally placed his head somewhere a head might go. Since this one is once again a character, I wanted him to have a characterful helmet, and I thought that the captain of the Death Guard might be a fitting choice here. To make his hammer look a little more chaotic, I took out the clippers once more, removed the chains from the Wrathmonger weapon as well as the original hammerhead, and glued these 2 half weapons back together. Nothing too fancy here, the main thing is that it looks like a little bit occult. And like a hammer. And now onto the disturbing parts once again. I placed this Chaos Spawn's claw onto his backpack and this small part from only Zinj know where it comes from, right onto it as well. With all that in place, I needed to cover up that belt buckle using a Dark Oath shoulder guard for that, because there is also a little bit of fur attached to it, which I like to have on these guys, reminding myself that these are a little bit canine themed. And once that's done, I went on with drilling some holes into that armor and of course doing the fan service of drilling out the barrels. After that there was only some Agrellan earth missing to create cracked armor, and once that was done, dry and the miniature primed, I started painting. With a coat of various browns: dark rust, burnt red and parasite brown. And you might think, wait, sometimes he starts with white and sometimes he starts with browns, and the reason for that is that I usually forget how I started. And that's also why the order may change as well. And I wanted to have a rusty undercoat, which sounds like a more professional reason. Which I'm not. I mean reasonable. So, after these short little insights, I went on with covering everything that I want to paint fleshy with dark purple and a tiny amount of magenta, because dark purple alone does not cover that well over a black primed miniature. And once it was dry, I went on with neutral grey, picking out all the armor panels. There are some spots where I deemed it necessary to have one coat and some where I had 2 coats, since the darker browns will shine through otherwise. Which is not a problem, but an opportunity to create a lot of volume. And when that was dry, I picked out the usual spots to highlight them with wolf grey. The usual spots are the head, shoulders, the part of the arms that face towards the sky, as well the outside facing parts of the legs. Or leg in this case. And the backpack. And after that I very quickly cast golden trim onto the miniature, and very effective spell by Pro Arcus Bronze for Chaos Space Marines, and shaded it with a watered down jade. And once that was fully dry, I repeated the process with Vallejo's Game Wash Black and again with jade to have a lots of volume. And now that I've fully rushed through all these processes, let's do something different this time. As I said, I wanted to build and paint some demon engines this year, which again seems to be the best timing to do that. And I wanted to try how oranges work on this color scheme, so it's time for hot orange watered down so it flows into all the recesses. This really increases the contrast, and since I'm still within the, let's call it naturalistic color palette with this one, nothing sticks out too harshly, at least for my eyes. So after 1 or 2 watered down coats of hot orange, I went on with dirtying down the miniature once again. For these small characters, I again use Parasite Brown, Dark Rust and Burnt Red mixed into each other to create lots of variety. And once that's done, I painted Tentacles in my to-go color recipe for skin tones. Dark Purple followed by Bugman's Glow followed by Elfic Flesh. And again, the same Elfic Flesh was used for the skulls and other bone-like structures on this miniature. And I would also love to encourage you to leave a like, maybe a subscription and try the new hype function. This really helps the channel grow and feeds the algo gods the necessary information to push this channel to new people who need to be converted to chaos. I mean, somebody has to start the cult already, right? And when that was done, it was time to paint the eyes of this guy and the container he carries with him. For that I used Gory Red. And while that dries, I highlight some parts, especially the helmet, the feet and the back module with pure white. And now we come back to the eyes again. First I used a 50-50 mix of Gory Red and white, and after that you see me fail to paint the inside of the eye in great detail on the great detail camera. I had to paint it back to red again and redo the whole thing once more, but once that was done I only had to edge highlight the trim, paint the base and call him done. I have to say, I really like how he turned out. Giving myself a 2-day schedule for this one really made me think about this project a little more. And I think a hunched over position like this makes his Warpsmith being look like it's an actual burden on him. Which is something I really like. And what else I would really like is to know what you people out there think about him and the idea of focusing a little bit more onto the warp part of his name, since this mechanical focused appearance of these dudes does not really suit every Legion and Warband in my opinion. I guess many of us made the Warpsmith G-dubs revealed on Monday really happy, and I will totally try to get my clumsy hands on this one. Until then I have a Traitor Titus to build, so I hope to see you there in the next one.